What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Free Trading Game Collection. I went to 2 car boot sales this weekend. I don't normally do that. The first one was a little bit of a disappointment outside of the first 5 minutes. That's what we're going to focus on here today. There were a few things here or there maybe could have picked up. The first of which, a very small collection of controllers. So there was a PlayStation 4 controller. I apologize for the camera work. This is going to be horrific. There was an Elite controller and then a couple of Xbox One and 360 controllers there as well. Now, the people selling, I believed, were maybe resellers of some description. They had reseller type things. You can always really spot when a reseller is about. Either they are trying to move the stock that they've had for a while that they can't seem to sell. These controllers were in okay condition. They were just thrown on the floor, which does indicate to me that they don't care about them as much. They wanted 15 for the PS4 controller, 40 for the Elite Series controller, and then I didn't ask about the rest of them. Reason being, I need these controllers to be cheap. I've mentioned this before, of course, but I'm working off the premise that these are faulty. If they are faulty, A, how difficult would it be to fix them? And B, if I can't fix them, how much can I get for them in a faulty condition? So for me, £40 for an Elite controller was way too much money to spend if this thing didn't work. The PS4 controller for 15, to be fair, that's approaching the price I would sell it for if it was fully working. For example, I still have this from a couple of weeks ago. I picked this up for £5 in a boot sale along with Spider-Man, which has since sold. I'm trying to get between 20 and 22 for this, but it still hasn't gone. I know I'll get that eventually, but this is fully working and in very good condition. Although the red one is probably a little bit more appealing due to the color, it didn't have the barcode on the back, so I couldn't trade it, and of course, did it even work? Up next is a PlayStation 1 bundle with a very small stack of games, but still, very nice to see in a car boot sale. I was kind of hoping this was going to be about 20 quid all in, and then I would have gone for it. He said 40. It was a house clearance guy. They're very hit and miss with me, to be fair. I don't often buy from them, and I know a lot of people crowd round because they have some random things that can be really expensive that they don't price up that expensive. In my experience, they do, I would say maybe 60 to 70% of the time, do research on their items, so they are reasonably well priced, but they are still a little bit wild here or there. 40 quid for this wasn't bad if I knew it was working. The last time I bought something off a house clearance guy, it wasn't working, even though he was adamant that it was and that he had tested it before he brought it with him. Now, I always take that with a pinch of salt. On that occasion, I got done. On this occasion, I wasn't going to get done because I wasn't going to buy it. 40 quid for this isn't terrible, if I'm honest, but I don't know the resale value off the top of my head. Each of these games is worth between 5 and 10, so in the games alone, I was probably safe, but I decided to leave it. Before I get into my first pickup, and a crafty moment from me I must say, I'm going to go to Regenerate very quickly because there was something in the window that hasn't been there before, and it was a N64, but this was the Pikachu variant. Now, I'm pretty sure this is the NTSC Pikachu variant, and you can't get this in the UK, or rather they didn't release it in the UK. I think the UK version was just a decal on a normal N64 with like a blue and yellow sort of theme. It's quite boring, but to be fair, I think I prefer that to this Pikachu version. I just don't like the shape of the Pikachu version. It was quite cool to see though. Not sure how well priced that is, to 20 to 30 off the top of my head. Can't remember what it was. I'd like to get a Fantastic at some point, like the green shell is really nice, or the watermelon, but either way, I do really want one of those at some point, but not in today's video. I was going to let this clip play out, but I think people may start asking questions, so I thought I'd clear it up. I found a small stack of games on a table. There were some Kinect games and a couple of Wii games. Now, in my experience, the people who play the Wii generally tend to be casuals, especially these type of games. So what happens is people put things back in the wrong cases, they leave discs in consoles, so you need to check to see what's actually in these things. So I had a little bit of a flick through, and there were a couple of games missing, there were a couple of games in wrong cases, etc. It was a mess. I found Wii Sports inside a Wii Fit case, and I thought, well, I'll just ask and see what happens, and she said £3. Now, I could easily have bought that. It's a £6 or £7 game for 3 quid, but I left it because disc only, for me, it's just not worth the hassle of trying to sell it disc only. I can't trade it into CEX. I left it alone. Anyway, time goes by, probably 45 minutes or so. I go round the boot sale once or twice, and then I stumble on this stall again. I spot that the stack of games are no longer there, but there is a very lonely Wii Fit. Now, this was the case, of course, that had Wii Sports in it. I went back over, had a little look to see if whoever bought the stack of games had done their due diligence and actually looked through them all. they hadn't. Because Wii Fit, which I saw in another case, wasn't in this. This has Wii Sports in it. Obviously, we know that. Did they change it? No, they didn't. So I asked how much. She said £2. I said, would you take £1? And she said yes. Having paid £1 for that, I can probably sell it for around 6-ish. Hoping it's going to go on Vinted so that they cover the postage as well. But we'll see what happens there. Probably going to make about £4 profit after it. It was the only one left, and that's why I bought it. What would you have done in that scenario? It would have been easy for me to say, hey, your discs are all over the place. Some of them don't even have discs. And had it been just one disc in the wrong case, I may have said, hey, these are in the wrong case, I'll swap them over for you. And I actually do that in the next episode for someone, and you'll see that on camera as well. But on this occasion, I didn't do it because they were a complete mess. It was all over the place. Now, the person selling obviously didn't know what they had, otherwise they wouldn't be trying to charge £3 per game. So the fact that the discs were all mixed up, it wouldn't have made a blind bit of difference anyway. Had I put all the discs back in the correct cases, she still would have said £3 a game, and then eventually it still would have been £1 for that remaining Wii Fit. It didn't make a blind bit of difference to her, and she eventually sold all the games anyway. In my opinion, I think it's down to the seller to check that the discs are there, and then if you're buying something, it's obviously your responsibility to make sure that you are buying what you think you're buying, and you need to check to see if the discs are there, or if you're buying shoes to check they're the same size, or it's the left foot and the right foot, for example, because you never know. With that being said, let's get into the meat of today's episode, because I picked up nearly everything that you're about to see. In fact, I did pick up everything you're about to see in the one deal from the same stall. Not sure what footage you're about to see here, and let's be honest, my camera work is getting worse, so you're probably looking at my foot. However, I spot some football boots on the floor. Now, I don't know why I was drawn to these first before I looked for games, because lately I'm looking for games, then I look for other things I can flip. Football boots for me, I buy them all the time. They are so easy to flip. People sell them on because they're covered in mud. They think they're worthless, and then you can just clean them up. It takes 5 minutes, and you can flip them for like 3 or 4 times what you bought them for. It's easy, it's quick. On this occasion, I was about to do the same. This stall had everything priced, which kind of threw me off guard because that doesn't happen in car boot sales. £4 for these football boots, so I thought that's an easy £20. I will take it. Then my wife said, hey, there's a stack of games here you might want to take a look. There were some decent games there, actually. I say some. There was one decent game, a sealed Switch game. This was the Turrican Flashback Collection, if you will. I think it's like a 30th anniversary edition from the original games on the Mega Drive. This is a game I didn't own as a kid, but rented quite a lot, and I really want to get it on the Mega Drive, even though now I think it is quite expensive. Well, expensive for me anyway. But I saw this sealed, and I was expecting them to say like 20, 30 quid or something. They said 12. I didn't know how much this was. In fact, I didn't even know this existed. So I kept it in my hand, and I had a little look through CEX app while I was still trying to scan the table to see if there was anything else there worth picking up. Then I saw what looked like an original DS, and indeed it was. 8 quid for a DS. Now, unfortunately, I asked, but there was no charger and there's no stylus. So for the game, £12. For the console, £8, that's 20, and in the boots on top, 24. Fast math off the top of my head, I threw out a figure of 20 quid. She immediately declined, but her husband said, no, it's fine, let him have it for 20 quid. And I did. Would you do 20 for all that?
No, because that's 12, that's 8, and now 4. That's 24, 24, do I do 20? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
So those football boots, as I mentioned, they do sell fast, and in this case, they did. I put them on Vinted, and they sold within a couple of hours of me listing them. 20 quid, job done. Now, the customer paid the fee, of course, because that's how Vinted works. I get £20 of the sale, which is nice, and they pay postage as well, so pretty good. They probably ended up paying around 24, 25 for these boots, which is about what I had them on for eBay, so I would have made a lot less had I sold them on eBay, so I'm glad Vinted got the sale. I'm loving Vinted right now for selling more than I am buying. The beautiful thing about this, of course, is that we pay £20 for the lot, so that £20 coming back means that the DS and the game are now free. Turrican on the Switch, paid for by the football boots, still sealed, going to go into the collection. Could sell this because CEX sell it for around 23, and that's obviously second hand. On eBay, you're looking at around 20 quid, so if I really wanted to, I could get another 20 quid out of this. Not going to though, because I do really want to play it. And then of course I have this DS. Now it doesn't have a charger and it doesn't have a stylus, but I know it works, obviously, because it still has has battery. And it also had a game with it. So this game is Pokemon, no I wish, it is SpongeBob drawn to life. So unfortunately the game is worth about 12 pence. However, selling it with a game is going to help, and we do have Big Brain Academy, which came in that massive Wii bundle months ago now. So I'm going to bundle those two games with the console. If I can sell this for around 25-30, which is what I'm aiming for, we're looking at a minimum of £20 profit from this whole thing, and we get to keep Turrican on the Switch. We also have Wii Sports as well, which we're probably going to look to get about £4 from. So if I say for £30 profit off the DS and the Wii Sports, and of course the boots that paid for everything anyway, not bad. A lot of people will do a lot better than me, but to be fair, for this boot sale, this is my regular and I really like it. It's the first time they've put it on grass this year, which is normally better. I know it doesn't really make a difference whether it's on concrete or grass, but I always find things on the grass rather than the concrete. On this occasion though, there were loads of sellers and just nothing to buy. In the next episode though, the Sully boot sale has started. That is the one in Cardiff, and that was much better. I did very well in that boot sale, and you'll see that in the very next episode. But for today, one game going into the collection, no CEX credit unfortunately. I can't trade this in without a charger and a stylus, so I might as well just sell it and take the profit. Next episode though, I am going to get store credit, and I may very well spend it in the very same episode as well, although there is a lot to get through. Join me for that one. If you've been to a boot sale lately, let me know how you got on in the comments. You can check out another video from me here, and until the next time, goodbye.